Hi, parents. I know the college admission process is confusing, and everybody wants to know who gets in and why so that you can better prepare your child. You can ensure they're doing the right activities, they're making the best decisions, and so forth. Well, I was on Facebook the other day, and in one of the admission forums, someone asked the question, why do colleges care about parents' occupations? Well, parents' occupations really gives college admission a better window into the student, into their activities, into their personal drive. And here's what I mean by that. Imagine that your neighbor is a doctor and your neighbor's child wants to follow in their footsteps. So, what does your neighbor do? He talks to other doctors at the hospital. He talks to his other friends at the hospital, other medical professionals, and he sets up shadows for his child. He sets up research opportunities for his child. Now, you aren't a doctor. You are a secretary at a company, divorced, and you don't have the means for that. You don't have the network for that. You don't have those opportunities right at your fingertips. You're working hard to provide for your family as a single parent. There's a big difference in the opportunities that your neighbor's child has just by benefit of what their parent does for an occupation versus what opportunities your child has. And I'm not throwing shade in either direction. Trust me, I am not. I mean, if I was a doctor, I would be introducing my children to medical professionals so they would have better input and better perspective. And I mean, we actually do that for our students. We have them meet with medical professionals if that's the route they want to go. But the point is that the average parent can't make those opportunities available. Maybe the kid's pediatrician, but beyond that, probably not much. So if you take the student whose mom is a secretary, single parent, that child might have additional responsibilities at home. They might be responsible for picking up their brother or sister who's in middle school. They might be responsible for getting their youngest sibling from the elementary child care after school, and they have to come home and make dinner and things like that. So if we look at those two kids' resumes in just, a silo vision of, who's done more, is that really a good perspective? Is that really sharing with us what each child is capable of? That kid that's got more at-home responsibilities, and I mean true at-home responsibilities, like a single parent working, younger siblings really have to be taken care of. Not the kind of chores every kid should be doing. I have to clean up, I have to take care of the dog, I spend 15 hours a week, on mowing the lawn and taking out trash and doing my normal chores. Normal chores aren't considered extra. They're not above and beyond what they would expect a kid to do. But if you can't participate in extracurriculars because you have this responsibility, colleges need to know that. Also, if that child, let's say, does find an opportunity to take advantage of the week mom's on vacation, and they set up their own shadow, they are able to find an opportunity to really do something. They go on a mission trip on that week mom's on vacation taking care of their younger siblings. Well, that shows that kid has their own built-in desire and drive, and they found a way to make it work. Versus, did this kid really just go shadow a bunch of medical professionals because it was convenient, because mom and dad set it up? So colleges are always evaluating resumes, activity list based on, what are the resources immediately available to the kid? The resources the kid didn't have to go anywhere to find because, hey, dad, I was thinking that maybe I want to shadow a plastic surgeon. And dad makes it happen. Versus the kid next door who's like, Mom, I was thinking I want to do something in medicine. Okay, well, talk to your guidance counselor what classes you should take next year. Those are completely different conversations and opportunities. And so when colleges are evaluating, they're trying to get more in depth. Is the kid who didn't have all of the shadows and research and so forth, is it because they're really not driven? Or was it because they were handcuffed to other responsibilities? And so that's why they want to know what you as a parent do. And, sometimes kids will be like, oh, well, my dad is a salesperson, but he told me to put down sales manager because it looks better. Don't inflate your job title. Don't inflate what you're doing. Don't try to impress the college. In your financial aid, they're going to know if you can pay for school or not. And if you can pay for school, that's what they care about. If you're looking particularly at Ivies and highly selective schools where a CSS profile is also required, they're going to know plenty about your finances. You don't need to elevate your job title. And sometimes it can hurt you, especially if your kid hasn't had a lot of extra opportunities because they're in the messy middle where, they just haven't been exposed or had the good fortune of those opportunities being created for them. So you want to make sure that you're honest on your application, on your child's application, as to what that career really is, what it looks like. They're also going to ask your highest level of education. They want to know, like, do you value education? If you don't have a high level of education, but your kid has rocked high school, your kid's got a great GPA, they've been involved, they've done a lot, it shows that you still value education and your child is more likely to do well in college. Sometimes they're looking at, how much drive a kid does have in comparison to the background their family came from. I was a first generation college student in my family. And, my parents both had decent jobs, but I'm sure when they looked and they're like, okay, well, you did well in school. So your parents obviously encouraged you to take advantage of education. You didn't just squeak by. Because a kid who's just squeaking by in high school is unlikely to do super well in college. Past performance indicates what the future performance is going to be like. So they're considering that when they're deciding who to take in. Because a kid who's just squeaking by in high school might not be coming back in January after their first semester if they haven't done well. Parents are unlikely to continue to pay for school if they haven't done well. So they're looking at all of these factors to determine, are you a good fit for our campus? Are you going to bring more to our campus? How are you going to get involved? What role do you play in our campus? But also, how likely are you to do well here and stay here? And that's really important to colleges. So as they're evaluating it, they're trying to get a picture of what's the background, how much value was put on education, how much does the child value their education, what resources have they taken advantage of, and how much of it was, how much of what a kid has done has been solely inspired by the parent versus the kid taking ownership, taking initiative. Initiative is one of the biggest things we talk about now in college admissions. A lot of kids check boxes. Oh, well, I joined Key Club. I joined NHS. I'm on student council. Oh, I have a leadership role in this. I play a sport. They're checking boxes. And some of it may be truly like they love their sport. They love being involved in, Key Club or drama club or something like that. But I can tell you, talking to kids day in and day out, a lot of them are checking boxes. Oh, I have 74 hours from Key Club. Okay, that doesn't impress me. You're a junior in high school, 74 hours over 3 years? Like, okay, that's 25 hours a year, let's just say. 25 hours a year, like that's not even a work week. Don't tell me about your 74 hours. Tell me the impact you made. Tell me what you did to make a difference for someone else. Talking in terms of hours, you're just checking boxes. You're trying to impress somebody like, I did so many hours. No, what did you do? What difference did you make to somebody else, for someone else? Those are the things that colleges are looking for. Kids who can take initiative, step outside the box, plan something without instruction, without being told every step of the way, here's what you have to do, here's how you do it, and so forth. I had a student recently, super impressive. He's a decent student. He's not top of his class. He really has a passion for music. But I mentioned to him, I had a flyer on my desk. A friend was collecting food items for their school's food pantry. You know, when schools close for the summer, any kids who are on free and reduced lunches, they're struggling. Who's feeding them over the summer? It's not like suddenly they're getting extra money. Those parents aren't getting extra money to feed their kids. And, you know, things are tough now. Gas prices are up, food prices are up. There's a lot going on. And, you know, these kids, it's not their fault what's happening. They need to eat. So my friend was collecting items and he saw the flyer and he's like, oh, you know, I could collect some items. I said, yeah. I said, you know, why don't you, see if you can put a flyer up at school. He goes to a very upper middle class school, a school where there is quite a bit of means. And I said, why don't you put a flyer up at school and see if you can collect, you know, a bunch of these types of items, like the little boxes, not boxes, like the little cups of macaroni and cheese that can be microwaved, things like that. Because some of these people don't even have ovens. And so he started talking about it at school, and an administrator at his school said, oh, no, that's a scam. And he called me. And I said, I guarantee it's not a scam. I can put you in touch with a person at this particular high school to tell you it is not a scam. And I said, so what are you going to do? He said, well, I think I have another way I could collect items. I go, okay, great. What would you do? He said, well, a friend of mine, their band is playing Friday night because it was a very short window before the last day of school. Their band's playing on Friday night. What if I post on social media and stuff and ask people to donate, like at the door? I'm like, do it. So he created a flyer. He went and did it, collected $415 in one night at a concert. Totally, like, I mean, this was like 3 days before the concert. Very little notice. You know, sometimes we've conditioned students to think like everything has to be planned out to the nth degree, and you need 6 months of planning before you can accomplish something. And this kid's initiative, this is what schools are looking for. He saw a problem. He got shut down. You can't do this at school. But he took his desire to help someone else and collected these items. I had several other kids see this flyer and do the same. I had several kids see the flyer and not even ask. And so when colleges are looking at students, they know that a kid with initiative is going to do well in college because they're not going to sit back and wait to be told what to do. They're going to show up at the employment fairs as freshmen, even though they're marketed to juniors and seniors. They're going to talk to people. They're going to get business cards. They're going to email. They're going to get internships between freshman and sophomore year because they're going to take the initiative. They're not going to wait for career services to give it to them. They're going to take the initiative when they aren't getting a good grade to go talk to the professor. They're going to push beyond, well, no, you can't do that. Why not? Let me figure out another way. So when you're thinking about how your job reflects on your child, make sure they're doing something that doesn't involve where you could have been involved. So if you're a medical professional, your child can be helping people in ways well beyond volunteering at a hospital, which colleges are going to assume you set up for them. So make sure that your child's application reflects their interest beyond their career. What else could they do? Who else could they help? Maybe they love animals. Maybe they can do something at the animal shelter. And here's the thing. I have had kids say, well, the animal shelter, you have to be 18. But do you? Do you need to be 18 to make blankets for the animal shelter? Do you need to be 18 to collect food items, to collect, sheets and different things like that? Do you? You don't need to be 18 to do those things. If you really have a passion, you're going to find a way. And I think that's what colleges are really looking for. And they're looking for where that child has separated from what the parent can arrange for them to what they have figured out how to do on their own. So parents, that's why they want to know what you do. They want to know how much you've driven your kid in his activities or her activities and how much they have invested themselves. So that's your 1 point for today. Make sure you're pushing your kid to do things outside of what you can help them do. Oh, and if you want more information, subscribe to the channel, but also if you click the link down below, you can get the book we wrote. Are we doing this the right way? It's going to give you a lot more information and maybe dispel some of the other common misconceptions and also give you reasons why colleges do what they do when considering your kid for admissions.